Good Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Hope your hump day's going well. We got some numbers to look at today, and I gotta tell you, I'm feeling a little like Mason in Call of Duty Black Ops because I don't know what these numbers mean, but they're confusing. That's what I can tell you about them right now. So, it's Wednesday, so we're doing Wilson Wednesday again. We are looking at how Wilson played on Sunday against the Titans, and we're not really trying to determine if he was good or bad. We all watched that game. I think we all have some understanding of how he played. You might disagree on a few things, but I think it's safe to say that he did some things really well, but he also slipped back into some old habits and missed some crucial plays. And at the end of the day, he was okay. I don't know. He disappointed me in some areas, but he still made plays. That's what I can say about it. It was okay. So that's how he played, but how did he actually play? That's what we're looking at in this series. It's not good or bad, it's the process of how he's going about playing the position. And I'll tell you right now, these numbers are hard to make sense of right now, which is understandable because we're only 2 games in. Small sample size. We got to see a lot more football before we see if Wilson's game is changing meaningfully. But through 2 games, some of these results are just kind of weird. And I'm going to start talking through them and we'll try to figure out what's going on here. Okay, so we're going to start with air yards per pass attempt. I said under Waldron this number should logically go down. It is going up. It only went up from the Colts game and is now up to 10.2. This tells us that Wilson is still airing the ball out deep a lot, maybe more than ever. 10.2 might be higher than it's ever been in his career. So he is still chucking it down the field. And unlike in the Colts game, when I thought it was a pretty reasonable balance and, if anything, surprisingly efficient, against the Titans, he probably went to the well one too many times. So with that comes his air yards per pass completion being high as well. It's up at 8.4. I don't think it's ever been higher. However, and this is mostly granted because he hit those 2 long touchdowns to Lockett and Swain, which mess with the average. His yards after the catch per pass completion is also higher than it's ever been at 6.5. Look for all these numbers to go down as he hits less broken coverage big plays, but so far they're high, very high, which is not expected. All right, so next number we're going to take a look at here is bad throws, and he had quite a few against the Titans. He had 5, which gets him to 7 on the season. Now, in terms of his bad throw percentage, he's still doing perfectly fine. 13.5% of his throws have been bad. That's lower than it's been the last 3 years. On target throws, however, not so great. He had 33 on target throws through 2 games. If you look at the edit history here, you can see that he had 14 on target throws against the Titans, which is actually not that great. His on target throw percentage is down to 63.5, which is much lower than it's been the last 2 seasons. The rest of his throws, by the way, if you're wondering where the rest of his throws are, he there are throws in a game that are neither bad nor on target. Somewhere in the middle. They're fine. They're okay. Like that pass to Travis Homer with 20 seconds left in the game where the pass was low and Homer couldn't get out of bounds because he had to go down to get it. Like that's not a bad throw, but it's a bad throw because it wasn't worth throwing. You guys know what I mean. It's not on target, it's not bad, it's just somewhere in the middle. Those are the ones that get left out, in case you're wondering. Pocket time. And this one threw me for a loop because it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense with the rest of these numbers. His pocket time through 2 games is 2 seconds flat. Now, pocket time is defined as the time from the snap to the quarterback either throwing it or the pocket breaking down. So, given the fact that we watched this game, we know that Wilson was not getting rid of the ball super fast a lot. In fact, he was holding onto the ball and trying to make big plays down the field quite a bit. So, it seems like the pocket was breaking down very quickly against the Titans, and that kind of matches up with what I saw in the game. Wilson did have to scramble around a lot to avoid pressure. It was pressure that made him throw the incomplete pass to Lockett in the end zone on the field goal drive. It was pressure that got him almost sacked in the end zone on the final offensive snap of the game, etc., etc., etc. However, if you take a look at the rest of the pressure numbers, he got sacked 3 times, so a total of 6, which is the same he was sacked against the Colts. He was hurried. If you take a look at the edit history, you can see he was hurried 3 times, and he was hit a total of once. So through 2 games, he has been pressured 13 times. I think Carson Wentz got pressured more times than that in 1 game against us. So he's having to leave the pocket, but he's really not getting pressured that much. His pressure percentage is all the way down at about 20%, which is much lower than the last 2 years. So, yeah, the pocket's breaking down, but Wilson is not getting clobbered like we have somewhat come accustomed to. So we need to consider that in our evaluation of his play. Finally, scrambles. Wilson unplanned scrambled twice against the Titans, I believe. I think I recall both plays. I think he got positive yardage on both, but he had 2 against the Colts and 2 against the Titans. So consistent trajectory at least. And play action attempts. By PFR's count, there were 7 play actions against the Titans, same as the number there were against the Colts. So 7 in the first game, 7 in the second game, 14 total. And that's the end of the metrics. So what I can say is that we need a little bit of more time before we start taking these numbers super seriously, because this is a mishmash of a lot of different things. On the one hand, Wilson's air yards are higher than ever. On the other hand, his pocket time has collapsed to lower than it's ever been, and one of the lowest in the league. On the other hand, he's not getting pressured that often, so there's just a lot of conflicting information here. My best guess would be that Wilson is using his mobility to avoid getting pressured, but the pocket is breaking down a little faster than he would like because of the play of guys like, oh, I don't know, Kyle Fuller, and maybe to a certain extent we need to call out Brandon Shell just a touch. I don't know. It might have been a bad game against the Titans. He might have been playing hurt. I don't know. I know Kyle Fuller is a problem, and I know Gabe Jackson. Pass protection, I don't know. He doesn't seem like a star. I'll say that. He's good. He's solid. It was a good trade, but doesn't seem like a star. So Wilson's not getting pressured, but he is being forced to leave the pocket. And I think the offensive line does need to play a little bit better, but I also think that Wilson needs to make their job easier by not going for these kill shots all the time. He does need to choke up a little bit and take these short completions. That's one thing I was looking at on a couple plays in my tight ends videos. So I think this is a pretty strong indication that while Wilson is playing well, he needs to play a little differently. And he's still falling back into the old habit of trying to win the game on every single play. If his pocket time is going to continue to be down around 2 seconds flat, you got to get the ball out sooner. And his on-target throw percentage being a good deal lower than it was the last 2 years is going to be a problem if this keeps up as the season goes on. So that's what I got. Let me know what you guys think down below. It's a little too early to derive a ton of meaning from these numbers, but as far as I can tell, it seems to me that Wilson just needs to get rid of the ball a little bit faster. I don't think the center position on the offensive line in particular is helping him, but it is what it is right now. Get rid of the ball faster, Wilson. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks.